little girl named Galya walked home from school one day with a book bag full of presents and a dreidel made of clay.
The dreidel was her favorite. She'd had it since her birth. She wouldn't even part with it for all the toys on earth.
She'd made presents for her parents for Hanukkah this year. She skipped along and hummed a song that no one else could hear.
Suddenly, she stopped. Something blocked her path. It was a huge and scary goblin who hadn't had a bath.
He gnashed his teeth quite gleefully. His tail began to wag. He licked his lips and rolled his eyes and growled, "What's in the bag?"
But Galya was undeterred. She looked him in the eye.
"They're presents for my mom and dad for Hanukkah,"
she said.
"Why?"
The goblin laughed an evil laugh.
I see. Well, little girl, you can run along if you give that bag to me.
But Galya, our heroine, was brave and clever, too. And after a moment's careful thought, she knew just what to do.
She dug out her trusty dreidel. Galya knew her luck would hold. She'd had a spinning winning streak since she was 3 years old.
"I challenge you to spin for it,"
she said with a scornful smile.
"Any goblin worth his salt could beat me by a mile."
Now, you know as well as I, a goblin has his pride. He had to play. Galya's dare was a thorn in that goblin's side.
Me get beat by a little kid?
He laughed.
That's pretty funny.
So he agreed, and she counted out the change from her lunch money.
Now, Galya had good manners, so she let him have first spin.
"Hey!"
He cried and took a coin. He was sure that he would win.
Next, it was Galya's turn to spin. She closed her eyes and prayed.
Shin.
He thought he had it made.
The goblin rudely grabbed the dreidel and gave it a mighty twirl.
"None!"
cried Galya happily.
He growled,
"You're a lucky little girl."
The final spin, she held her breath and spun with all her might. She laughed, and the goblin roared. A terrifying sight.
Then, to Galya's great surprise, the goblin heaved a heavy sigh, and with a quivering sob that shook his fur, he began to cry.
"Why are you crying, Goblin dear?"
she asked, and he replied,
"I've never gotten a Hanukkah gift, no matter how hard I've tried."
"Poor old goblin."
Galya said. She had a kind heart, you see. So she took a deep breath and held out her dreidel and said,
"Take this gift from me."
The goblin couldn't believe his ears. She had been the winner.
But Galya just smiled and took his hand and brought him home for dinner.